paycheck.
I don't know.
Looks like a paycheck.
Did you get your packet?
Smells like a paycheck.
It's got that smell.
I don't know how direct deposit smells.
Paycheck.
Did you get your packet?
Smells like a paycheck.
Well, we know we're on a delay.
Yeah.
Always.
There's always a slight delay with the YouTube. Forewarning.
Yeah, do we need some new batteries or were just so many speakers burning through the batteries on
It's the
Monday?
speakers.
not the batteries.
It's not the batteries. It's
Okay.
the speakers themselves. There is signal for hearings. Honestly, we could talk further about
Yeah.
what I think needs to be done.
Okay. I mean, just because I watched,
I'd like
The
to take
whole
it up
time
with
is-
special rules. 'Cause
It also
it's-
has a meeting coming up
intro.
tomorrow.
But we're not gonna talk about that this meeting, but
Looks like the chair just stepped away for a sec.
we do need,
I
we do need to
since
move forward disabled accessibility in city council chambers and have functioning microphones. For our
Yeah,
meetings.
since so long we stepped away. I just think
Just
that
kind of basic, basic things.
we would
That's-
probably.
And Chuck had said that that the bond that we approved last time, which included the ability to fund for council chamber renovations for accessibility, is still approved.
It's still valid.
It's still valid, so it just gotta. Someone needs to project manage it to make sure it happens, so we can drive that out.
All right,
Go for it.
are we ready?
We are ready. People
All
are
right.
meeting to order.
Calling me in order for employees committee meeting. As of Wednesday, January 15th, 2025, 5:30. Roll call.
Yep. Councilmember Porter,
Present.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Present.
in ex officio capacity, Councilmember Matavetsky,
Present.
and Council President Dundon. Also in his ex officio capacity, we are also joined by Personnel Director Drake Leach.
Okay. This is introductory resolution to RL 2517. Resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with CSEA. Any discussions? Or questions? Anyone you want to add?
So if I understand this right, this is now back to the tentative agreement. The previous one was a final agreement. This is the agreement that the union voted on.
The tentative agreement is document that the union voted. on.
Okay,
And by that, everybody that in the union, or at least is present for that would have seen
this
this,
version.
this version.
If I recall correctly, the vote on the tentative agreement was 26-1, 26 in favor.
Right.
Okay.
So just to chime in a little bit on why we're back here at this process. Seeing how this was done it came across to me as counterintuitive from what I've seen every trade council ever do. Normally, a tentative agreement I've always seen in my history is voted on by the membership, that'll get signed by the employer, the union will come back with a full CBA, then that'll get voted on by their membership and then go to the employer to get signed. In the municipality in the city of Binghamton in past practice, the members vote on the TA. The full CBA gets approved by city council for the mayor to sign to go back to the union to get approved that way. I've never seen it done that way. That was my miscommunication in the process. That was why I've kind of held this up. At the end of the day, I always want to reiterate, union members came to me because they weren't sure how the process worked. And I never want to see the rank and file get hurt. So to slow this down a little bit, just so I could have clarification and for the local leadership of the CSEA union to have clarification is why we're at this junction today.
And I spoke to President Dundon just before coming in. I reached out to another city to see how they do the order of things, and they also kind of they're inconsistent with how they do it. Sometimes the union votes first, and then the city. Sometimes the city votes first and then the union. And it just until both sides sign the same thing, it's just kind of in this kind of limbo state. So while I agree that in terms of intuition, having a consistent process where everyone understands how it works would be good. It did not seem to me to be out of the norm of the one data point that I have of reaching out to another council. So,
Well, I can say that, as you guys know, I haven't done this for years and years and years, so. My research, to follow up was the, 'cause the Teamsters contract was the first one that I had done. And so, yeah, my research for that was, okay, that's how it rolls. And then when we did the fire one just a few weeks ago. Looked again, like, yeah, that's how these things generally work. Not everywhere, like I say, not everybody does it the same way. But there seems to be some consistency in the city, and this is the sequence of events and how it rolls out. And then when you questioned it, I was like, you got me thinking, like, is that right?
Yeah,
So I looked again and, yeah, I think that's pretty common.
And I mean, that's where sometimes I think unions lack educating their own local leadership. If it was Dave Holler and that would have said something, I would have done the same thing with the firefighters. And seeing that it was the local president and other the rank and file that work in here that brought these concerns to me. Well, then, yeah, I'm gonna dig in. That's where, the CSEA should have said, hey, since you're new to this negotiating process, this is how it's done. So then that way questions never would have been brought to me on why do you have a contract that we've never even looked at yet? And it's like, well, wait a second, that's not how this is supposed to go when you're bargaining in good faith. So, and I mean, anytime any union member across the county has ever brought me anything, I will always dig into it. That's just, that's where my passion and my heart will always lie, is defending the workers' rights.
so if we vote on this, because this was already voted on by the union membership, it will go into
You're
effect.
still voting on the CBA, not the TA.
No, we're voting on the CBA for the mayor to sign it. Then it goes back to the union for the union to approve it.
You're
so-
not voting on the TA.
We're not voting
We're
on
not
it.
voting on it.
Okay,
You're kind of voting on the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
okay,
The TA has basically what we negotiated for, the
Yep.
changes,
Yeah.
what's gonna be different in there, that's what's in here.
okay.
And then when you vote on it, then we go back and then.
To the
city-
version we previously got.
The city and corporation council and the negotiating team make sure that what's in this tentative agreement finds its way into the contract.
Yep.
And so what you have there is a draft of that.
Yep.
Which still has to be vetted with corporation council and the union, but they don't do that until it moves forward, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Until we vote for it, or they.
Well, they
you
can't
vote
even
for it.
get it until we vote, and the
Right.
mayor signs it to send it back to them.
Right.
That's where the
Yeah, that's
process to
what
me
we-
was like. The union should be sending the final product, not we're sending a draft, but that's the way the city has done in past
Because they
precedent
consider
with all.
this to
their-
be, this is really, they ratify
They-
this.
That's what I'm saying, so this is the contract they think is the one that's.
Yeah.
Well, so they ratified the TA.
But what happens if changes in the process?
They don't have to sign.
And it was-
That's where you
Right.
have to have faith in the union leadership to
Right.
do the best for their rank and file.
Exactly.
Wow.
But that's where,
Since it's not, has it been known that the rank, union person that's representative is doing the due diligence?
I always am gonna say I have faith that a union rep will do his due diligence. Personally, I don't know if me and Chris will ever send each other Christmas cards, but I would like to believe that deep down inside, he's still a good union rep and he'll still do what he's supposed to do. So,
I
if
would
not,
too.
Megan also doesn't have to sign this, so it doesn't matter if Chris Rhodey does, if Megan takes it to the membership and membership goes, no. She doesn't have to sign it, and literally it goes right all the way back.
To us,
Back
back
to
to
the
drawing
beginning.
board.
Right.
Yes, yeah, that's where it threw me off. Why are we getting an agreement to send back? We should be the last ones vote, Jared signs, then it's done. But that's where the
Because we-
miscommunication was, and that's where there was emails flying to get to the
Right,
bottom of it.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense, because we have no control over.
Well, again, as far as my research, what I found was that in municipalities generally, you guys are voting not on like the items, you're not renegotiating the contract
Contract,
if
right.
you don't like it. But you're making sure that the city has resources to support this contract. And that there was nothing illegal proposed in that contract.
That's why it goes to core council to make sure.
Yeah, that's what was throwing me off. Why are we getting an agreement for Jared to sign when it should come this way instead of it's got that extra loop? That's what, sort of the miscommunication. I mean, as ugly as it kind of has been at times, we have the process now, so at least we can explain it moving forward. And sometimes that's what you have to do to make sure everybody knows what's going on around you. I mean, especially the people it's going to affect the most.
So I think you asked me the question during the fire, was it the fire? Yeah, you asked me the question, what, what if we don't like this, right?
Yeah.
And I was unsure about the answer for that, but that's why I researched it and looked it up. I was like, okay, and that's how, and you kind of answered that question.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
in a moment, yeah.
and the only thing we can vote down and not liking this is from the city standpoint, not from the union standpoint.
Right.
Related to your fiduciary duty.
Yes.
That there's nothing
Make sure the city
blatantly
can,
illegal
Yeah.
or something
Right.
that the city would be sued
Right,
over.
Yeah.
We're gonna bankrupt
no,
the city.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
That the order of operations is not outlined in the charter, just for a clarifying question, so if
Yeah.
you wanted to change the order of operations and you worked with a negotiating partner, you conceivably could.
yeah.
Yes.
Something.
And
we have
that's
in
that's
special
where,
rules.
that's where it was tough, because like she said,
Think you'd write
look
it
in the
into
charter and I'm like, this,
but-
everything I've ever seen in my 17 years in the union, it goes this way, and where's this loop coming in, and,
Yeah.
but I mean, and seeing that's the way the city's done it. Like I said, the firefighters never said none, and I even asked you, did they vote on it? Yeah, not realizing there's a difference between the TA and the CBA and the way the process.
And I can also say that the first meeting for the Teamsters and the fire and for CSEA, that's one of the ground rules that we set is, as you said, we could, if they want to do something different.
Yeah.
Good, that's one of the ground rules. How is this gonna be ratified? And that's what they agreed to.
Which is why I say it's not really a charter thing, because it really is something that has to be mutually
Agreed
agreed
upon.
upon by both parties, not
Yeah.
legislated into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
coercive, if
Yeah.
we have a process in place, that's city side
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you can walk in and say, I want someone to wear purple pants to the negotiating table, like, that's, like, I've seen pretty ridiculous things
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I only want green M&Ms.
oh, yeah.
Like,
Skittles and different, each color for each bowl. Yeah, people will do anything. I've seen some wild stuff too.
We didn't go down that route. Unfortunately, it's pretty straightforward.
But yeah, at the end of the day, the process, the CSEAs, they gotta do their due diligence.
But it is uniform with the other unions.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they did.
Yeah, it's been the past precedent of the city, whether it seems.
It seems like
But-
even if it is the past precedent that has been set.
Well, that's-
Obviously, there's room for some kind of
There's
improvement.
Always room for improvement, always. So it's something though, you'd have to talk to each individual union, their negotiating committees. And then make sure everybody would be on board to change that process, because like Sam said, you don't want to just legislate something because you want the union members to have their say. I mean, that's the whole point of being in the union, is you have a voice. And that's something I would fight everybody on if I have to.
I don't think you need to legislate it, but I think that we could still use our committee structure to bring the voices to the table and have a discussion.
Yeah, because I mean, the unions might like the way it's done and might say,
Yeah.
we like the way it's done, and then there's no point to even dig into it. Yeah, there's
I
no
think
point.
that part of it process wise also is like I said, we have these ground rules, and again, I found it to be standard that we say. At some point, we have this list of things that we want to negotiate, right?
Yeah,
Some of them make the cut and some of them don't, right? But at some point, you also say, as of XYZ date, you can't bring anything else to the
Yeah.
table. Unless both parties agree to it.
Mhm.
So if you then at the end, you say, okay, here's the whole contract to the group, and then somebody said, well, I don't like this, and I don't like that, and I don't like the other thing. Now you're introducing all kinds of new stuff,
Yeah.
you gotta reopen the whole thing, and it would take 10 times longer to get it done, I can see that.
which that's common practice. Normally it's as this date, hey, here's your 15 things. You got to list date if you want to turn that 15 into 20 or 25, but after that, you can't just drag out negotiating to
Right.
drag it out.
Filibuster.
Yeah, pretty much filibuster.
Yeah.
Any more discussion on anything about that? Anyone?
So the days got updated, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kat, I don't know if you're aware, we will be holding a special business meeting for this on Friday.
Yeah.
So obviously my health has slowed that down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we'll get this moving forward so the CSA members can get their raises and keep, the wheels of City Hall turning.
We get a hospital bed up there for you.
At this point, I don't know if they'd look after me or push me down the stairs.
Okay, all right. Everybody.
Motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
Great.
and Alumni is the only one who can second my motion.
And a second.
This would be-
All in favor?